Sir Christopher Lee is one of the world's most iconic actors. He was primarily cast as villains but could play anything, including religious fanatics, wizards, and the Prince of Darkness himself. Keep watching to learn about the huge world record that Sir Christopher Lee still holds today. His early career. Christopher had no early aspirations for acting, but his 6'4" frame and baritone voice made him a perfect fit. Niccolo Corandini, president of the Alitalia Airlines, suggested he take it up when he was 25. He played minimal roles after first appearing in 1948's Corridor of Mirrors. He got a string of low-budget films, but it gave him a willingness to accept anything. He was eventually signed to a 7-year contract with the Rank Entertainment Group. The executive originally thought he'd be too tall, but Christopher proved him wrong. His height helped him land parts as authority figures in films such as The Devil Rides Out, The Three Musketeers, and Moses. He studied in Rank's charm school, but was met with laughter during a serious moment on stage. He never returned to the theater, but did receive useful instruction in swordplay. His records. These early roles were only the beginning of the huge world record that Christopher Lee still holds today. In 2007, he was given the distinction of the most screen credits. These include 244 films and TV movies. He made 15 more after that before his final role in 2015's Angels in Notting Hill. Christopher holds other records too. He's the tallest leading actor at 6'5". He has starred in the most films with a sword fight at 17. He also puts the game of 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon to shame. You can connect him to almost any other actor in 2.59 steps. Now let's talk about some of his best roles. Dracula. Dracula is the most adapted book of all time behind the Bible, and Christopher Lee may have starred in more adaptations of it than anyone. He worked on 22 of them as part of the Hammer horror series. The first was in 1958. It was released as Horror of Dracula in the US and Dracula in the rest of the world. Peter Cushing played the Count's nemesis, Professor Van Helsing. Christopher played the role 7 times before tiring of it by 1966's Dracula, Prince of Darkness. At the time, they reminded him how many other actors and crew members would be out of work if he left. He hated the dialogue so much and wished it had at least a single line from the original novel that he didn't want to say any of it. They agreed to let him be mute except for a few hisses and screams. The last two, Dracula AD 1027 and The Satanic Rites of Dracula in 1973, were no better. He vowed never to play Dracula by the time he was 50, but didn't follow that rule forever. He returned to work on 1969's The Magic Christian, Dracula and Son in 1976, El Conde Dracula in 70, Umbracle in 72, and In Search of Dracula in 74. Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock was another of the famous characters Christopher Lee played. He was the only one to ever portray him, his brother Mycroft Holmes, and Sir Henry Baskerville of The Hound of the Baskervilles. James Bond. Christopher Lee always had a connection to super spy James Bond. He was the step-cousin of the character's creator, Ian Fleming, and they had met a few times. That, along with his World War II and actor espionage experience, made him first choice for a role in the first Bond movie, Dr. No. That went to Joseph Wiseman, but Christopher got another chance in 1974 in The Man with the Golden Gun. He played the villain, Francisco Scaramanaga. It was his highest fee at the time, earning him £40,000. He and his family got to travel the globe to promote it and moved to Los Angeles. Saruman. Christopher Lee was one of the millions of fans of J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings books. He was the only member of the eventual adaptation who ever met the author. He found him in a pub and was starstruck. He was determined to get a part in the films. He took a role in the maligned 1997 The New Adventure of Robin Hood series as a wizard to show he could be Gandalf. He wrote director Peter Jackson a personal letter asking for the part. His age and menace made him a better fit for the devious Saruman. His ability to create natural death sequences is also well known. The story goes that when it came time to film Saruman's death, Peter described what being stabbed in the back would look and sound like. Christopher looked him in the face and said that he knew exactly what to do thanks to his service in the war. He was angry when the pivotal scene was cut in the theatrical edition, but his ire cooled when it was brought back into the extended edition. Count Dooku. Christopher got to star in another blockbuster after Lord of the Rings, the Star Wars prequels. He was once again the villain as Count Dooku. He was an athletic performer and skilled fencer, even in his old age. That made him a great fit for lightsaber battles with Yoda. Rasputin. The Russian monk Rasputin was a major role that Christopher had a deep connection to. He did research about his assassin, Grand Duke Dmitry Pavlovich, on his own. He got to put this knowledge into practice in 1966. He got a role in the film Rasputin the Mad Monk. It was one of his best roles, and he continued the research afterwards. He met one of Rasputin's assassins and his daughter Maria and visited St. Petersburg. His other interests. Rasputin's execution wasn't the only one that he was interested in. He allegedly knew the name of every public executioner in England to the mid-15th century. When he was 17, he saw the death of Eugene Weidmann, the last Parisian to die at the guillotine. Christopher's voice and love of music never went away and almost got him an opportunity to join the Swedish opera. He developed a love for heavy metal music in the 1970s after hearing Black Sabbath. He released 2 rock operas, a heavy metal album in 2010 when he was 88 called Charlemagne by the Sword and the Cross, and a metal Christmas album in 2012. He's got more records as the oldest metal performer and oldest musician to ever hit the Billboard music charts. The horror icon's interest in the occult may have informed his roles. He identified as an Anglo-Catholic but was interested in the occult as well. He disputes rumors that his library of related books numbered in the thousands, but admits to having a few. He also claims he knew those who truly became obsessed with the occult and warned that, quote, "You will not only lose your mind, you'll lose your soul." He was a champion fencer, operette polyglot, and a talented golfer. His friends. Christopher was not known as a difficult actor to work with. He was dedicated to his work, but not an unwavering perfectionist, and that attitude earned him many friends. They included horror icon Boris Karloff, famous for his role as Frankenstein's monster. He told Christopher that an actor must never be faceless. He used that tip to give humanity to even the most despicable villains. The 2 actors also starred in 1957's The Curse of Frankenstein. He shared a birthday with fellow horror icon Vincent Price. They met on the set of 1969's The Oblong Box and worked together on 1970's Scream and Scream Again, as well as 1983's The House of the Long Shadows. He loved Vincent's sense of humor and wide range of interests, and also got along with his wife. He also got along with Peter Cushing. They had small roles in 1948's Hamlet. That began a long and fruitful relationship where they co-starred in more than 20 films. His death and legacy. Sir Christopher Lee died of respiratory distress and heart failure at age 93 on June 7, 2015. He's survived by his wife and their daughter. This record-breaking actor received a long list of honors and awards. He was made a Commander of the Venerable Order of St. John in 1997 and a Knight Commander of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire in 2009. Now it's time to hear from you. What's your favorite role from Christopher Lee? Let us know in the comments section below.